This is Heartrepreneur Radio, maximizing your personal and business results by leading with your heart. With your host, Terri Levine. Listen every week as Terri tackles the topics that will help you become a successful heart-centered entrepreneur. Be sure to read the blog posts at www.heartrepreneur.com/blog. Come back often and add this show to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe in iTunes. You can also follow Terri on Twitter at MentorTerri and on Facebook.com/Heartrepreneur Terri Levine. And now here's Terri.
Welcome back to Heartrepreneur Radio and TV. Glad that you are joining us. I am Terri Levine, Chief Heartrepreneur. And before I introduce my guest today, I just want you to take one moment and think about how you can be even more heart-based in your business and your life and your relationships, and truly be in the moment, be fully present, tune in, listen with your heart. And then as you listen or watch today's show, see what message is here for you. There's always a message for you. So my guest today looks so fabulous. I just had to compliment her, and you'll know why in a minute. Her name is Paula Peralta. She is an empowerment expert, access consciousness being you, and joy of business facilitator. And here's the other piece. She's also a salon owner and celebrity hairstylist in Los Angeles. And having written guerrilla marketing for beauty salons, I have a real interest in salon owners. And she really does believe that you can have it all and that anyone can make money doing what they love. So are you excited? Because I'm super excited. If you have any challenges in your business and you want some business advice and help, we're here to do a customized blueprint to help you overcome your biggest business challenge. Send an email right now to Terri, Terri, at Terri Levine, Levine, and we will tell you how to get your customized business blueprint. We are truly here to help you. Paula, welcome here to Heartrepreneur Radio and TV.
Thank you so much, Terri. Thanks for having me. I loved your opening message about following your heart and getting really present. It's so key with being an entrepreneur. So I was already excited about this conversation, and now I'm way more excited.
Well, that's awesome. I could tell that we were totally aligned when I was reading through information about you. So let's take your journey. How did you get into all the different things that you're in? Like, what's your path been, Paula?
That is, how much time do we have? I don't think we have enough time for all of that. It has been very much like a winding road. And it has been really just a journey of discovering how to be really present with what I actually desire to create in my life, and my business. And then also, being willing to get it wrong, being willing to change it, even if it seems like it's the right thing. It's really like just that level of presence has created kind of my journey. So, short version, I started off as in a more traditional kind of route. I went to college. I was one of the first in my family, I think maybe the first in my family to ever go to college. So I went to a 4-year university and got a degree in English, literary studies. And I hated it. I hated college. It just wasn't fun for me, but it was what I was supposed to do. Right. And so, from that, I got, a office job working 9 to 5, hated that, packed up, moved from Washington State to California, still worked in a desk, was working insane hours, hated it, was making great money, hated it. It was just that whole thing of I was doing all the right things and I wasn't happy. And so what happened was I actually, the economy really started to suffer financially. And so the company that I was working for was doing layoffs. And so I got laid off. And it was actually such a gift, which is, I know, such a weird thing to say.
Yeah, no, I get it. I was that was a blessing.
Yeah, it was a total gift because I realized, I immediately went into the reaction of okay, well, what's my next job? And, quickly I had like job offers or, you know, friends in other companies that were like, hey, you know, you can come here. And it was one of the first times in my life where I actually stopped and asked, what do I actually desire to create? Like, what would be fun for me? Like, if I were truly being me here, and if I were choosing based on the world that I would like to live in and the reality that I would like to create, what would I choose?
Oh,
and so
I want everybody just to hear that. Like, that is the question. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's so
well, no, it's okay. And I think it's actually what I've realized more and more is that is not something that we're taught to do. Like, we're trained to not break the mold. We're trained to like, this is what you do. This is the system. This is what you create. This is, you know, you have responsibilities and, you know, like you have to create your life based on the needs of everyone else. And nobody ever tells you that, but it's always just inferred. And then one day, and I'm really grateful. For whatever reason, that was like the awakening where I was like, wait a minute, what else is possible here that I haven't considered? Like, what if I broke the mold? Like, what would happen? And that was the beginning of really like the rest of my life, because that's where I started to really learn that like failure or perceived failure actually isn't such a bad thing. And I started to look at all the places in my life where like, you know, hating college and like failing classes and, you know, getting laid off or, you know, packing up and moving without a job, like all of those things that people are like, you don't do that. That's not what successful people do. Right? Like I looked back and those were always the defining moments of my life that created something totally different that gave me more of me. And so it's like, you know, and then fast forward, I had a friend who was a hairdresser, and she was working like maybe 3 or 4 days a week and making as much money as I was making. At that point, I was making 6 figures a year easily. Again, hating my life and working insane hours. But what was really interesting was that she was like, I think you'd really like it. You should look into it. And I thought, well, you know, it's totally a departure from anything that I've done before. And it's recession proof. So even if I hate it, like I'll always have something to fall back on, you know, like I just was like, all right, like, yeah, I'll try it. So I like fell in love with it. I had an incredible mentor, which then led to more mentors and incredible, you know, opportunities to travel the world and, you know, facilitate classes and educate, which I still do. And then, you know, that led into me working behind the chair, owning a salon. And now, you know, here we are. All the things.
So I want to say a couple things. You know, first, I just love that you shared your journey. And I love asking that question because I'm always so interested in how people get to where they are. And I think the common denominator is we all do have winding roads. And the big common takeaway that I really want our Heartrepreneur listeners to hear is that we have mentors along our journeys. We all do. Every successful person literally that I've ever met has had mentors. And when I left corporate America, like 26 years ago, and just said, I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore, I was tapping into what's in my heart. What do I really want to do? If today's the last day on my earth experience, which it could be, do I want to be president of this national healthcare company? And the answer was no. And so I quit to start this business. And then, you know, not even a year later, I guess I wrote the book, Work Yourself Happy, which really tied into what Paula was saying, which is go and ask yourself, like, what is it? And I love that you just, you know, broke the whole traditional mold. I think that's so fantastic. So, all right. So here you are, and you get into hair and all of that amazing things. What kind of tapped into you for the empowerment? I'm very familiar with Access Consciousness. I have quite a few clients from that. So what kind of brought you into that realm? Because your journey is fascinating to me.
Thank you. Well, and I think even to your point, it never shows up the way you think it's going to.
True.
So we can plan and plan and plan, and it's like there's one thing that's an interrupt, or one thing that happens, or one thing that shows up, and suddenly like your path veers off in a completely different direction. Not in a bad way, but just there are things that you can't plan for, and that's especially true when you're choosing for you. Because how many people thought you were crazy when you left your job? Like, how many people told you, actually had the audacity to tell you how crazy you were, right? So it's like, I mean, in this economy, are you sure that's the best, you know, whatever the reasons and justifications are. But what's interesting is, as I started to I had my journey. And then as I started to work behind the chair as a hairdresser, obviously I'm constantly coming in contact every day with hundreds of people. I mean, on a daily basis, it's maybe like, 8 to 10, 15 people. But still, what I was noticing is how many people actually weren't creating their lives. They were like, it was the like in and out, the drudgery, like they weren't asking questions. They were just like going along with whatever, they felt like they were supposed to be doing, or again, creating their life based on everyone else's needs. When I realized that there was an opportunity to have a different conversation, and people would ask me often, like, how did you get into hair? And so I would tell them the journey, share with them what I just shared with you. And they were like, that's crazy. Like, how did you get from there to the, you know what I mean? And I would see where it would start to open up for them, like a different possibility. And that's for me, one of the other things that you said is that when you start to, when you have mentors, really for me, the great thing about mentors is that they show you paths that often have never been traversed before. Sure. And what that means is it shows you that it can be done.
Yes.
Because if someone else is willing to be that interrupt or willing to do something different or step out of the mold or break the box or however you want to say it, that means that you can do it too.
Yep.
And sometimes that's all people need is that permission or that little bit of a push, I'll say, to make a different choice, to then like completely expand and exponentialize their lives. And so as I was continuing to have these conversations as a hairdresser, I was like, what if I could actually have like tools, or I could give them something that, yes, they get a beautiful hairstyle or they walk out feeling great about themselves physically, but it's like, what can I actually change for them long-term? And so that began my journey of, I personally was playing with the tools of Access Consciousness. They changed my life. I started to just like drop little tools here and there. And then it expanded into where clients started booking me for full on sessions. And then I started facilitating classes. And then, so it was just this really organic space. But again, it all led from being really present, because who goes in to be a hairdresser and then walks out an empowerment coach, right? Like, it's one of those things, like it doesn't logically make sense, but like when you look at the energy of it, like it totally reads, and it's a really natural transition. People joke that like when the economy's down or times are tough, like men go to the bar and women go to the beauty parlor. So it's like one of those things where like it's a natural place where people open up and they're willing to have a level of vulnerability. So it was a really easy transition.
Is your business struggling? You want more leads, you want to convert leads more easily, you want more revenues, more profits. Whatever your biggest business challenge is, we're here to help you. We have a proprietary proven process that's guaranteed here at Heartrepreneur to help you increase your revenues and profits. And we have the ability to help you overcome your biggest business challenge. Simply send us an email to Terri, Terri, at Terri Levine, Levine.com, and we will show you how we can help you overcome your biggest business problem by doing a customized blueprint just for you. Whatever your problem or challenge is, stop struggling, stop the frustration. Let us help you so that you can have more money, more freedom, and more free time in your business. Do it now. Send the email now. I love that you talked about that, because I've worked with a lot of clients that are hairstylists and salon owners, and they all tell me like they feel like they're a therapist, right? Because I know I have a very close personal relationship with my hairdresser. I really do. She knows everything about my life, my family. I know quite a bit about her, and I don't really go a lot of places to have those conversations. So it's a really interesting parallel to me, how when you're in that position and you are tapped in, like, oh, look, I'm actually helping people. I can see how Access Consciousness can tie in. I think for me, it is one of the best things that happened for me is when I went to coach training school and I learned powerful questions. That changed my life. It changed my life, not only that I was asking myself these questions, I could have conversations with family and friends and, of course, later clients with just asking these questions, and I could see the potential and the possibilities. So this is such a marvelous journey. So Paula, like now, who do you work with? Who do you help? Who do you dig? And maybe we have some folks listening that maybe are ideal to even chat with you. So how does that all work? I'm so excited we're having this conversation.
Well, thank you. I'm excited too. So, there's a couple of things. So I do more and more lately, I do a lot of private sessions. And so it's been really cool, especially in the digital age. I mean, right now we're doing this via Zoom. So it's like really cool that you can actually connect with people from all over the world. And my business really has expanded internationally, especially in the past, like I would say 4 to 6 months. So, and it just was a result of like getting on the platforms and, you know, being willing to kind of show up in different ways, or like you said, be in the question and ask, okay, cool. Like, how can I reach more people? You know, and what else is possible here? So, you know, I think what I would say is, you know, if you are looking for, someone that you connect with or that speaks to you, I mean, you can always come see me. Or, you know, some of the people that I really love and play with a lot. There's a woman named Simone Milicis, who actually started Joy of Business. And she is like an entrepreneur to the nth degree, and leads her life with such a level of presence and kindness and joy. And one of the things that she's always asked is like, what if your life is the adventure of living? And she's really, yeah, right? Like, she's the one that actually really showed me that your life is your business and your business is your life. And that's really, you know, when you're speaking as an entrepreneur, like we live that. And we're constantly made wrong for it because people are like, you know, you need a work-life balance and you need to make sure that you set boundaries and all those things. But it's like, as an entrepreneur, that's not a thing for us. We love what we do. And so whether it's working at 11 p.m. or getting up at, you know, 5 a.m. to get ready for an interview, you know, whatever that looks like, it's like, it's not really work for us because we love it. Well, when you're grinding, yes, you need a work-life balance, and yes, you need boundaries and all of those things, but that's the joy of business, is that when you're actually creating a life that works for you and doing what's fun for you, you actually don't need a vacation from your life. And for me, that's what success is.
Yeah, I measure success the same way. I'm just totally resonating with you. You know, I like that. What if life is the adventure of living? I mean, I just dig that. I totally don't get when people are all over Facebook saying, oh, entrepreneurs, what's your daily grind? What's your daily hustle? And I'm like, if I was hustling and grinding, I would find something else that I wanted to do, because when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. Who am I going to talk to today? What client family members can I help? And it just is a joy for me. And then I talk to other people who are working what I call a JOB. And it doesn't matter if that's your own business, because you can turn it into a JOB. And they are walking around just miserable. They, you know, want to stop doing what they're doing. I dig what I do so much when I hear people talk about the word retirement. I'm like, oh, why would I ever do that? So I'm totally aligned with you. Also, how do people connect with you? I want to make sure people do know that, Paula.
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me. My website is paulaperalta.com. And then I'm really active on social media. So you can find me Facebook, Paula Peralta. And then I'm most active on Instagram. Hair by Paula Peralta is my Instagram. So yeah, you can always connect with me there. And you can always email me. Paula@paulaperalta.com is an option as well, if you're still emailing.
I want to come see you, and I want you to do my hair.
Yes, fun. Let's do it. But yeah, I think you made a really interesting point just now, talking about like that grind kind of hustle mentality. And I wanted to speak to that because it's so interesting where like, when you started off, you know, this conversation talking about being really present with your business, and it's like when you get present with your business and present with your life and present with your body, like all of those things together can align. So it's like, for me, what I've really looked at is where becoming an entrepreneur has actually put me more in touch with my body. Mm-hmm. It has like really changed a lot of my relationships, because you very quickly get to see like what is a contribution, what creates space, what doesn't, not from judgment, but just from, like this works for me, this doesn't work for me. Like all of these things where, you know, for years, like I would struggle with, you know, eating or exercising or those kinds of things. But it's like when you start to see it as part of the whole and the contribution that it can be, it's no longer a struggle. And it's like you said, if it's not fun for you if it's not fun for you, get rid of it.
I agree.
Because there's always going to be something. And if you're not having fun, ask for more fun to show up. Like it can't
love
be
that.
simple. It's for you to ask for it to show up.
I love that. And I'm really glad that you talked about the connection. I mean, I really believe the mind, the body, the spirit, it's all one. And when you really get in alignment, I never truly knew what that word meant, I have to say, because people would talk about work-life balance and they'd be like, oh, you work too many hours. I'm like, but I really love what I'm doing. And it's like, no, you need more balance. And then it hit me like I had to be 20 something years ago that I went, wait a minute. I feel really aligned. I'm doing what feeds my body on a regular basis. I'm doing what feeds my soul on a regular basis. I'm doing what feeds my spiritual connection to humanity on a regular basis. And I'm feeding my mind. Like, what more could I want? And I then came up with this, Paula. It's nobody's business what my business looks like. Does that make sense to you?
Totally. Totally. Because it's
I say that for everyone. You have to figure that out. Go ahead, Paula.
No, absolutely. That's like, it is all about creating a life that works for you. Yes. Like that is joy of business, and that is creating your life. And it's like, you can choose what success looks like. For some people it's a number in the bank, but like, a lot of people have a lot of money in the bank and are miserable or do grinding or hustling and not having fun. And the thing is, there are people, and this is where I speak to like mentors again, is like, there are people that are making a lot of money, if that's your measure of success, and loving their lives and are doing something that's fulfilling and that contributes to people. And for those of you now and in the future that are listening or watching, like, it's like, you can, going back to the asking, you can really ask for those things to show up. So I mentioned, like, ask for people and experiences and things that are fun to show up in your business and in your life. But it's like, even as something as, speaking to the alignment, going out and spending a little bit of time with nature can change dynamically the way that your business runs. So for me, like, I am a glamping girl, if at best. Like, I'm not a wilderness trekker. But what I will say is, like, what I've really been making time to do is creating space to go out and, like, put my feet in the grass for like 5 minutes a day, or like look at, I live in Los Angeles, California, so like looking at the palm trees and admiring them, or just really taking time. I have a lot of plants in my home. Like, here's one. I have a lot of plants in my home because they contribute to me. And there's something about that gifting and receiving that happens with nature that, like, business can be a give and take. And that's when it becomes a grind. And that's when it becomes not fun. But it's like, if you're willing to actually have it be a gifting and a receiving, where your business gifts to you and you gift to your business, and that's the time spent together, it becomes contribution. And that's not something we learn. Right? Like, you got to get yours, you got to do your hustle. But it's like, nature is one of the best teachers and mentors for what contribution looks like. So even if right now you're hustling and grinding and you're burning out, go spend some time with nature.
You're the first person on the show ever to give that tip. And as you were saying it, I'm like, wow, it's so brilliant. You talked about, like, gifting with nature, and there is this give back. So I'll just share, I live in Mexico 4 months out of the year. I live right on the beach. I am here right now in New Jersey looking at the ocean. And then some of the time I am in my other home in Philadelphia. And no matter where I'm living, I happen to dig the beach, but no matter where I'm living, I have spent time in nature for, it has to be over 25 years, every single day, which I never did in corporate. In corporate, I was kind of locked into an office. I drove to work, brought my coffee in, was in there all day, drove home. And that was my life for 5 years. And the minute that I quit my job almost 26 years ago, and this is so interesting because I never put this together, Paula. I just knew that I had to spend time, whether it's taking a walk, listening to the birds, looking at the beach, putting my feet in the ground. I am so glad you shared this. This is so huge. And I'm really going to ask the audience to, like, breathe that in. There is this gifting of nature, and nature's giving to you, you're giving back. And I'm going to ask, I really am going to ask, if you're listening and if you're watching, there's something in here. I have found Paula to be incredibly empowering. I've already heard some of the amazing questions that she's put out there for you. So I'm going to ask you to make a connection with her in this last minute where, oh my gosh, just one more minute and I don't want to leave. So Paula, tell people one more time how to connect with you and find you, because you are amazing. I am so glad we're here.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. So you can find me at paulaperalta.com. It's my website, or you can email me at paula@paulaperalta.com. Also Instagram, Hair by Paula Peralta, Facebook, Paula Peralta. That's it. Just type in my name. You'll be able to find me.
Paula, I just have to tell you, you personally have been a great gift, hugely inspirational, and I feel very connected. So thank you so much for being a Heartrepreneur and also for being with us today at Heartrepreneur Radio and TV.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me, Terri.
You're welcome. And then for the viewers and the listeners, we have free gifts for you also. More than the free gift, we have an actual Heartrepreneur community, and I'm going to invite Paula to join our community too. And it's a Facebook group. It's called Heartrepreneurs with Terri Levine. And it is a community of about 5,000 people. Not only do we do business together, we uplift, we inspire, we keep people more conscious, more present, and we really share tips and tools and resources just like Paula has today. So I'm going to encourage you to join us. We'd love to have you, Paula. We'd love to have your voice there. And then I want to conclude today by saying to you, if you happen to be watching this or listening to this and you're connected with iTunes, we love when you share. We love when you give us great ratings and really share the show. You know, the word Heartrepreneur stands for we help you so you can help others. So it's all about passing it forward. And I'll just leave you with this today. You've heard so many nuggets here from Paula. I literally had goosebumps many, many times. Today, make your connection with nature. Today, make your connection in the moment. And just because someone else says, oh, don't go work so much or set boundaries, it's up to you. It's your way of doing it. Just have fun on the journey. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the heartfelt connection. And see you next time here at Heartrepreneur Radio and TV.
You've been listening to Heartrepreneur Radio, maximizing your personal and business results by leading with your heart with your host, Terri Levine. This show is produced every week for your enjoyment and education. To make sure you never miss a single show, add us to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe in iTunes. You can also read Terri's latest blog posts at www.heartrepreneur.com/blog, or follow Terri on Twitter at MentorTerri and on Facebook.com/Heartrepreneur Terri Levine. Your questions and comments are always welcome and appreciated. Send them to Terri on either Facebook or Twitter. Thank you for listening.